Someone had mentioned the other day, now that they're starting to get sober, they start to look at other people on the street or just walking by or whatever, whatnot, and they would start to think like, are they like me? Are they, someone who else is dealing with alcoholism or some kind of addiction? And so they started to, wonder like, what is it that everybody, has as like their secret. It's one of those things like, people tend to put on a mask and they, put their face on, to the world, and that's what you think they are. That's what your perception of them is. And, and everybody has something going on. Everybody in the world, I don't care who you are, you've got something going on, whether it's money issues or an addiction or relationship issues or just, mental health. And so, that kind of just brought up the fact of like, everybody has their two sides to them. Everybody has like what they want the world to see, and then they have the side that like they truly are. And so I, kind of thought about that for a little bit, and I definitely do the same. I mean, I'm human. I have the side of me that I, am when I'm at home with my family, and then I have the side of me that I show to friends, and then I have the side of me that I have for work. And, I put on my game face every day. I do wear makeup, so I try and make sure that I look presentable for the day, somewhat clean and showered and, dressed, but like at home, I typically don't wear makeup. My hair's up in a ponytail, and I just am more relaxed. And so I'm a little bit more free with my mind when I'm at home. But, and it's kind of funny because then I kind of created like a fourth personality, the drunk personality that's trying to act sober. Whenever I drink, and my husband's pointed this out multiple times, and he knows, the very specific sides or the very specific side effects that I create, of course, when I'm drinking is, one, of course, is I'm very talkative. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk about anything, and I'll just keep going and going and going. And another side is that, I'll just start talking about like very personal things with complete strangers, and I'm like, oh, I'm relating. I'm going to tell you about this horrible thing that I did, when it's really not a topic that you should be talking about, but, my words just kind of spew out of my mouth when I'm talking and I'm drunk, that it is not acceptable, And so I kind of created, this fourth personality that when I am drinking, I try to act as sober as much as I can. And now that, I've been getting sober, I've been trying to act in that same way of that fourth personality where, when I drink, I know that I'm very talkative. So when I'm sober, I try to be more talkative than normal, just so that way it kind of equals each other out. Typically when I'm at work, I'm very focused on what I'm doing. I'm very focused on my work for the day. I try and get as much done as I can. I'm a little bit of an overachiever, so I tend to not spend a lot of time diddly-daddling and everything else to go with it. Excuse me. And, I tend to be very hyper-focused, and I don't really pay attention to a lot of the environment around me. And so when I'm drinking, it's the exact opposite. I'm a social butterfly. I want to talk to anybody and anyone who walks by. I'll have conversations with people that I've never met before. And, and it just becomes like the exact opposite, like just not getting as much work done. So when I'm drinking, I will purposely like tell myself like, shut up, stop talking. You said what you wanted to say, be quiet, do some work for like 30-40 minutes, completely silent, and then I'll go back to talking again. And so like I will try and find like this happy medium, between the sober felicity and the drunk felicity, just so that way the days that I am drinking, people won't notice. And the days that I'm not drinking, people won't notice. It's a sick thing to think that I can trick people like that. It's a sick thing to think that I can, create this, fourth personality that, I can play this role at work just so that way it's easier for me to get away with drinking. It's easier for me to get away with drinking while at work. It really is very manipulative of the people around me, because I'm thinking, to me, of course, I'm sure everybody knows, that, I can play this role, and I'm creating this character that they are seeing, and they don't see anything else other than this character. And I can tell, like, when I'm not drinking, of course, I've been sober for the last week at work, people will come up to me and they'll want to carry a conversation with me. And while I'm trying to get my work done, that I'm almost getting to the point of just annoyance. Like, I got to get this done. Like, I'm freaking out because I just have a lot of workload. And you are wanting to come over and socialize. Like, I don't have time for that today. Like, today's not the day for that. And I'm finding myself getting angry, and I find myself being like, hold on, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Where when I'm drunk, I wouldn't do that. I would just say, screw it, I can deal with it later, And I'm finding myself doing that often because people are so used to me wanting to have conversation and hang out and talk about goofy stuff and just, kind of go through our day, laughing and giggling and everything else and not getting any work done. So when it's time to actually buckle down and get the work done, they're not expecting that. So, and the whole mask thing, it's baffling because, what if we did truly live in a world where no one could lie, like everybody had to tell the truth all the time? Would it be beneficial or would it be hurtful, And it's one of those, double-edged swords, like yes and no, yes, it's good. You have to tell the truth. Honesty is key. But if someone makes a really bad pasta and you have to scarf it down, you're going to tell them it's delicious because you don't want to hurt their feelings, But, what if we actually did live in a world where everybody could see your secrets? Everybody could see, what's going on with you, like everyone's got, like I said, some kind of, thing going on with them. What if everybody knew about that? Would they then become more accepting of you? Or would they approach you knowing that, hey, you know what? I'm an alcoholic too. I'm glad that I got to know you because now we both know that we are dealing with the same issue. We both are the same, Is that even, would I be more approachable to a lot of people if they knew my other side? While I'm at work, I try and come off as, very professional. I do like to have a good time, but, I'm here for work and, we have a job that we have to do. And so, I can be very off-putting to some people because they do, tend to think of me as like a very strong personality, but I am an overachiever and I can come off, very strong. And some people don't like that. They don't like somebody who's that driven, So if they knew the other side, that I'm an alcoholic and I'm literally struggling every day just to stay sober that day, would they be more accepting of me? Would they be able to be like, you're overcompensating because you're failing here? And it just makes me wonder how many other people out there are actually dealing with mental health issues, dealing with depression, that have, thought of suicide, that have attempted suicide, but when they get to work, they have this mask that they hide over their face, and it's got a big giant happy face, and you just never know, and then unfortunately you do, hear stories of someone overdosing, or, getting into an accident and getting a DUI, or, committing suicide, and you're like, I just talked to that guy last week, he seemed fine, everybody loves him, he was such a great guy, I never knew, he's putting on a mask, he's putting on a front for everyone to see, and, would the world really be truly better, if we didn't have to wear masks, if we didn't have to have that, So it was an interesting concept. I definitely dived into it, thinking about, like myself in particular, I've got my multiple personalities that I do, but, would it really truly be helpful to everybody? But, it's funny, when I went to rehab, when I went to treatment, that was the first time that I'd ever actually experienced being in a room with other people just like me. I thought that I was abnormal. I thought that I was different. I didn't understand why I would drink differently than everybody else. When I would go out with friends, they would be 1-2 drinks done. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's like 9 o'clock. And they're like, I'm tired, I gotta go to bed. And I'm like, we have like the whole night left. Like, are you kidding me? You know, I didn't know that a lot of people would drink before they went out to go drinking. I didn't know they would drink to go before they went out drinking. You know, like I didn't realize that there were other people out there like me. And so when I finally got in there, I was so relieved, and it was so exciting to, you know, actually start like friendships and relationships with people that I am telling you like the worst things I have done in the entire world, and you've got a story to one up me. And it's funny, and it's, you know, because we all can laugh about it because it's our own problems, but you know, it's one of those things that like we are now friends because we're both fuck ups, you know. And I really enjoyed, you know, meeting some people there. Unfortunately, I don't really talk to a lot of them anymore. Everybody has lives, and some people have relapsed, myself included. So, you know, it's hard to, you know, keep tabs on everyone. But it was the first time I was actually exposed to other people just like me, and the fellowship, you know, that we created with some of these people was just unmatched, you know. And so that's why I like going to these AA meetings now, because I can go out there, I can spill my beans, I can tell you the thoughts that I was thinking, I could tell you what I was doing, how I was doing it, and everybody else just nods and they're like, I did the same thing. You're not alone. Like, I do that too. Although when I did it like this, you know. And it's quite comical. So